Hi, this is week 4 discussion in ITL 510, and I can't believe it's last week. So, this week is about fluency, and when I think about fluency, at least, I think about a child who is able to read with expression, appropriate pauses, and even corrects themselves, um, which is I don't want to, it depends on the exposure of the student who reads at home and at school. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in this video. So, I want to say that my score did improve from the pre-test to the post-test. I got a 6 out of 10 in the pre-test. And then after watching the videos and reading chapter 6 through 8 in phonics they use, I got a 10 out of 10, which is great because it shows me that reading has so much information that not a lot of people know about. And so my understanding of fluency did change before versus after reading. And one thing that really stuck out to me in this was the first few paragraphs in chapter 6 of phonics they use. Cunningham was talking about how fluency is the ability to read most words in context quickly and accurately and with appropriate expression. And this author had a bunch of words in all caps squished together, and I thought, whoa, that must be how some students feel when they are reading. And I thought, did I feel like that when I was reading? I wasn't really sure. I don't really remember because I just listened and I would listen to my mom a lot. She loved reading and she helped me read from preschool to, I want to say, 6th to 7th, 8th grade. And I thought of my mom when I was reading Cunningham when um, reading comprehension came about. That was the one of the themes or one of the hallmarks of these readings and the tie with fluency. Reading comprehension and fluency definitely go hand in hand. And I say that because you can read very well, but if you don't understand what you are reading or what is being read to you, that's a problem, and it is a huge attention factor, according to Cunningham. So this was probably my favorite reading of the entire course because fluency is what I am preparing my students for, even though they're only first grade. I'm reading so much to them just so that they are acquainted with and familiar, especially with high frequency words. And at this point in the game, they have asked me, "Can you read this book?" Like I had a librarian read a book, and then one of my students rose their hand and said, "Can you read this book to us, Mr. Balde?" And I think it's because of the expression and the joy and engagement that I bring into read alouds. So that's why they enjoy it. And I think I'm going to hold on to that for as long as I can, for as long as I am in the classroom at least. And so I think that, yeah, my knowledge of fluency has improved as seen in the test score and just my natural curiosity about what I've learned. Um, did my perspective change in its place? Oh, most definitely. Yeah, my perspective definitely changed, especially in this one chapter. Let me find it. I believe it was in chapter 7 of Cunningham. I wrote it down, but my handwriting is not legible. I'm sorry. It was in chapter 8, fluency assessment. That was one thing that I have been really trying to work on. And so, as you've read in my word case study, I use dibbles, but I also do a running record on my own accord because I think that there is much more to assessing a child's reading capabilities besides dibbles. And so I look for speed and accuracy. And there's this one quote from Cunningham, chapter 8. It was, "We say a person is a fluent reader if their reading, excuse me, sounds like speech." and they're in quotes. And so I've been trying to help them, help my students read questions appropriately by adding that little dip in intonation. Like, can I get a glass of water? Because they know how to ask a question, but they're just not aware that the intonation of a question when reading is crucial so that someone who's just listening to you knows if the statement you read is either a declarative statement or a question. So, um, that was another cool quote from Cunningham's reading chapter 8. And let's see, how and why did it change? I changed my perspective because of I'm becoming more conscious and aware of how I read to my kids because my expression and my intonation really I've learned that it plays a huge those two play a huge role when helping students understand what the story is about. And of course, guided questions and fill in the blanks have also helped me when it comes to getting children engaged. And I also use I use different tones of my voice to also um, read a book to my kids. And so I remember when I was 13 years old, so seventh grade, I was reading to my old preschool. Like in my old preschool, I read to a bunch of kids for one session, and here I am doing it in about 10 years later, and it's more than 10 years later, and it's a very interesting trajectory that I took. I had no idea I was going to be a teacher, to be honest, and a lot of my past has guided me to this position. I read to a bunch of 4 to 5 year olds when I was 13. I taught swimming for 3 summers from the ages of 16 to 18, and I loved tutoring, even though I didn't get paid for it. I loved tutoring in college. I loved mentoring and helping my colleagues or my friends when they were going through college by making roadmaps. And here I am as an elementary teacher. Even though I was in the biotech realm, I'm now in the classroom. And 2 years ago, I didn't think this was possible. I think actually 3 years ago, it's 2022. I said this in January 2019. So 3 years later, here we are, and I'm doing the thing. And so it's a challenge, but it's a good starting point for me. And I look forward to what my future lies. And I hope to see you all. Bye. Thank you for an awesome class, Professor Quinones.